Aloha and welcome to the JavaScript 1 module. This is a super great module. You're going to learn a lot of cool stuff, not only about JavaScript, but also about the workout of the day, our pedagogy for the first part of the class, and you're going to write an essay. So there's a lot going on in this module. I suggest you get started right away on this module. The learning objectives are to start your journey toward becoming competent with elementary JavaScript. Don't necessarily believe you'll achieve that learning outcome as a result of this module alone, unless you already were competent with elementary JavaScript, but you're going to start getting there. And also start your journey toward the creation of high-quality technical essays. So got a couple screencasts to start. The first thing is to motivate, why are you learning JavaScript in this class anyway? And the reason is not just because, to be a web app developer you need to know some JavaScript, but actually because JavaScript is a cool language. In fact, I got a little screencast here where I'm going to try to convince you that JavaScript is actually better than Java and C++. To start with, you're going to be using the JS Fiddle environment to do your JavaScript fiddling around. And so I have a real quick screencast that kind of introduces you to that, real simple. Then there's a reading the Airbnb JavaScript style guide. This is pretty important, and you'll probably spend the whole semester to actually get through this thing. To start, really all you need to worry about is this number 2 references. This is the only thing I think you're kind of going to come across in this first module, but the idea is that you really shouldn't be using the var keyword anymore, because as of the most recent release of JavaScript, there are 2 new variable declaration mechanisms, let and const, and they are superior to var. You really will never need to use var. So even though you're going to see var all over the place in existing JavaScript code, you should be using const and let, because there's certain problems associated with var that don't occur if you use those constructs, which is why they were introduced. So we're going to be referring back to Airbnb style guide through the course a lot, because it's going to help you understand what modern JavaScript should look like. I also have this You Don't Know JavaScript Up and Going, this short little book that gives you kind of a written overview of JavaScript, and that's kind of good to know. I treat it as optional because if you actually go through this first experience, which is Introduction to JavaScript with Free Code Camp, where you'll go to the basic JavaScript section and go through all of these 100 little problems, you're going to have a pretty good idea of how basic JavaScript works as a result of doing that. But if you like to read about JavaScript, that can be a useful thing. Then once you finish that, and that will probably take a good 5 hours probably to get through this piece. So get started quickly. I'll tell you, each of those individual lessons, some of them take like 5 or 6 seconds to actually accomplish. So it goes pretty fast. Sometimes it feels a little tedious, but it's really important to not skip through this, because this is, in my mind, going through things like Free Code Camp with all of these tiny little exercises, it gets your fingers used to just typing JavaScript code, even if the JavaScript code is like super obvious. Just let your fingers do the typing, and that's going to help you kind of assimilate the basic syntax of JavaScript, I think, really pretty effectively. Then we go on to there are first practice WODs, where you're going to be given a problem, and the WOD is specified right here, and then you're given some time limits for accomplishing them, and so you're going to try to solve this problem. It turns out to be problem 1 from Project Euler. And if you can't solve it, in RX time, for example, or even if you do solve it, you might want to watch my solution and then maybe go back and do it again if you find that would be useful to you. I always want you to try to keep doing these problems over and over until you can finish them quickly, and quickly is defined as being, in RX time. Okay, and that's a central feature of the athletic software engineering pedagogy, that by doing these problems repeatedly so you can do them fast, you're going to actually become fluent with the syntax and the understanding of the language, and that's going to really be a useful building block as we get into more complicated programming. So I've got this Project Euler problem 1 as a practice WOD. We've got Project Euler problem 2 as a practice WOD. later in the week, the following Thursday, I'll have a real WOD in class, which will be graded, and there'll be a problem similar to these two that you'll have to solve in a certain period of time. And if you don't, you don't get credit for that module. So, or for that WOD. So it's important for you to use these practice WODs as a way to train up so that you can be successful on the real WOD. Finally, technical writing, technical essays is an important part of this class. And so we have our first assignment where you're going to write an essay. Well, actually, you've written another essay, but this is the first essay where you will reflect upon the JavaScript 1 module and write about your experiences. And again, you want to write for the world, not just to the teacher as submission of a homework assignment. So there you have it, the JavaScript 1 module. There'll be two assessments. One will be the assessment of JavaScript skills by the in-class WOD, and then the other assessment will be looking at your essays. Okay, so enjoy this. Fair amount of work, but it's going to kind of get you really going on the class, and I think you're really going to like it.